Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, air, restoration, and flood services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit BillHowe.com. And by the Conrad Trebas Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
In times of uncertainty, it's important to know who you can call for help. Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Nonprofit 211 San Diego launched a new fundraising and awareness campaign today. KPBS reporter Andrew Dyer says leaders are concerned about people impacted by federal funding changes.
Cool. Thank you so much. And your first and last name for me, please.
The San Diegans Helping San Diegans campaign is an effort by the nonprofit to highlight its role in the community. The 211 call center connects people to food, housing, and disaster services, among many others. 211 San Diego President and CEO Bill York said today the 24/7 call center is vital to people when they need it.
We're not duplicating services. We're making systems work better, and we're getting people access. We're also a live voice, hearing those questions, answering those questions with empathy and concern during trying times. When systems get complicated.
At a news conference today, York and other leaders talked about confusion and uncertainty after this summer's Big Beautiful Bill cut federal social programs. San Diego Democratic Representative Scott Peters says the cuts have wide-ranging effects.
My district is the 5th least dependent in all of California on Medicaid. And still, in District 50, 21% people get their health care from Medicaid, Medi-Cal as we call it here. That's slashed.
York says 211 gets up to 2,000 calls a day. Many people are confused about new requirements around SNAP and health care benefits.
So we already see people falling off of Medicaid and Medi-Cal and coverage. So we're seeing on our calls, again, people, one, fearful of when it will happen, and fall off benefits, again, and that's who we talk to every day.
He says 211 San Diego is uniquely positioned to help people navigate the changing landscape.
Primarily, we're concerned about making sure we can fill the gaps of where people will be losing services and access to services.
If you need help, you can call 211 or go to 211sandiego.org. Andrew Dyer, KPBS News.
A group of skiers near Lake Tahoe were caught in what is now the deadliest avalanche in California's history. 8 skiers have been found dead, 6 have been rescued, and 1 is still missing. Ivan Rodriguez has the latest as crews race to reach them.
A tragic turn in the search for 9 missing skiers.
8 of the 9 additional skiers have been located deceased. We are still looking for 1 of the members at this time.
Emergency crews received reports of an avalanche hitting Castle Peak around 11:30 Tuesday morning. Immediately, skilled rescue ski teams raced to the scene. 46 emergency first responders in all, says the Nevada County Sheriff's Office. 11 hours later, the Sheriff's Office says 6 survivors were rescued with various injuries, 2 of whom were transported to the hospital for treatment. But as time goes on, weather conditions are becoming a challenge as skiers search for the 1 remaining missing skier.
Due to the ongoing challenges of the weather, the avalanche conditions, the effort remains ongoing, as well as our search for the remaining skier. But the weather is a factor. It's not a resource issue as we speak. It is a weather condition and safety condition for our response teams.
Even as snowfall tapers Wednesday, lingering showers and deep existing snow will keep travel difficult and terrain unstable around the Tahoe Basin and higher elevation. Another storm is expected to begin early Thursday, potentially stacking new snow on top of the current base. Ivan Rodriguez, KPBS News.
I'm Ariella Scalise, and coming up tonight, the showers ease and temperatures drop back down to the 50s, but you got to get ready for more storms on the way tomorrow. But a nicer weekend, drier conditions and warmer weather ahead. We'll take a closer look.
We're getting a break in the steady rain that we saw overnight and this morning, but it's expected to pick up back again tomorrow. Our media partner KGTV went to Mission Beach earlier to check on conditions there. The area is prone to flooding, and this morning was no different. Several businesses along Mission Bay Boulevard have put up flood barriers and sandbags. They say it's a problem they've come to expect every time it rains.
I've consistently seen them put up flood barriers and use sandbags at our shared entrance, but I've been working here for a number of months, and I've seen them consistently having to do flood damage and control, bring in people to help repair water damage. It seems that it's a problem almost every time we get any heavy rain or even moderate rain.
Some business owners say they've repeatedly asked the city of San Diego to look at improving drainage and infrastructure around the area, but so far they haven't seen long-term solutions. It's been more than a year since President Donald Trump began his mass deportation campaign. Here in San Diego, a group of volunteers has been trying to document ICE activity. KPBS reporter Gustavo Solis recently went on a ride-along with these volunteers.
This is what community patrols look like. Volunteers meet before dawn in dark parking lots. They hang decals on their cars, letting neighbors know that these patrols are looking for immigration and customs enforcement agents. They go over their route, make sure their radios are on, and hit the road.
Ya tienen todas las unidades radios, están prendidas, entonces nos vamos.
On this February morning, volunteers with Unión del Barrio are patrolling the streets of Logan Heights. They've been documenting ICE activity in San Diego for more than a year now. Benjamin Prado, one of the organizers, agreed to let KPBS tag along.
Yeah, I mean, it's been wild with everything happening.
It is one of several patrols the activist group regularly organizes throughout San Diego. On the day KPBS joined them in Logan Heights, separate patrols took place in Oceanside, Vista, and Escondido. They're trained to identify undercover ICE vehicles, usually clean, newer models with tinted windows and unmarked license plates. When they spot a vehicle, volunteers pull out megaphones and tell the neighbors to stay inside. Most days, the patrols, like the one KPBS went on, are quiet. We drove around Logan Heights for a little over an hour, nothing to report. But sometimes they do spot ICE, and they speak up. Like on this video from a patrol in December.
Get out of our community. We are sick of you separating families and terrorizing working people.
Sometimes ICE agents confront the community patrols. Here, federal agents accuse volunteers of obstructing their investigation.
You guys are Hey, you guys are impeding. You need to step back. You're impeding my job. I am not impeding your job.
There have not been any large deployments in San Diego like in some other American cities. But federal data show that ICE agents arrested roughly 5,000 people in San Diego and Imperial counties last year.
Granted, we haven't seen the intensified type of roving patrols that we usually that are out in Los Angeles or Chicago, Minnesota, right? That doesn't mean that they're not happening.
Here it's happening slowly, Prado says. And if you aren't paying attention, you may think that San Diego is not impacted.
They are happening, but not to the scale, not to the intensity that other places have seen.
But recently, Unión del Barrio says that their interactions with ICE agents have gotten increasingly tense, especially after the killings of Alex Preddy and Renee Nicole Good in Minneapolis, U.S. citizens who the Trump administration called domestic terrorists. Romel Diaz is also an organizer, and he says that kind of rhetoric criminalizes their volunteer work and justifies violence against the community patrols.
Es la criminalización del pueblo, y con eso justifica la represión o la opresión del pueblo.
Diaz's family fled the military dictatorship of Augusto Pinochet in Chile 40 years ago. He says the Trump administration's intimidation tactics remind him of the South American dictator. And volunteers are afraid.
No vamos a decir que no tenemos miedo, obviamente tenemos miedo, pero lo que hacemos es que el miedo no nos paralice.
But instead of being paralyzed by their fear, Diaz says more people are signing up for community patrols.
Las últimas 2-3 semanas después de la primera muerte, del primer asesinato de René, ha crecido el interés.
Prado says Unión del Barrio offers multiple training programs. Some teach people the basics of community patrols, and others show volunteers how to keep watch over their own blocks. Something they do not teach, Prado says, is to get in between federal agents and their targets. Volunteers are told to identify, confirm, and notify, not obstruct.
And in this way, families can, take the necessary precautions and, not put themselves in unnecessary risk and get detained.
ICE did not respond to questions from KPBS about these community patrols. Gustavo Solis, KPBS News.
A California lawmaker says Imperial County officials failed to answer critical questions about a controversial data center project. KPBS Imperial Valley reporter Corey Suzuki says State Senator Steve Padilla is pressing the county to halt the project.
Padilla is a Democrat whose district includes Imperial County. Back in December, he sent a letter to the county asking for more information about the project's water and energy needs and the local planning process. Last week, Padilla accused county officials of failing to answer his questions. He said their planning process had not been transparent.
Worked in land use and the public space for decades, and I can tell you that this is very odd and this is not how you do business.
The proposed computing warehouse would be massive, almost 1 million square feet. It's part of a nationwide infrastructure boom around AI. Last month, KPBS reported the developers behind it are openly trying to avoid an in-depth analysis of the potential environmental impacts. Last week, the Imperial County Board of Supervisors fired back at Padilla. In a letter, they said county staffers had met with his office and provided detailed answers about the county's development process. A county spokesperson did not respond to an interview request. Corey Suzuki, KPBS News.
A San Diego City Council committee rejected a proposal aimed to increase transparency around property-related fees like trash pickup. City Councilman Raul Campillo drafted the policy saying that the council should inform the public of exactly what fees are before voting on them. Last June, the council approved new charges for single-family homeowners for trash pickup, but those fees were higher than the original estimates shared when voters approved Measure B, amending the People's Ordinance. The ordinance had long been criticized because only single-family residences didn't have to pay for trash services. Scientists at Scripps Research may have found a way to redesign fentanyl, aiming to keep its powerful pain relief while reducing overdose risk. KPBS health reporter Heidi DeMarco explains.
Fentanyl has been used for severe pain since the 1960s, but it's also a major driver of addiction and overdose deaths. San Diego County recorded 320 fentanyl overdose deaths last year. Scripps research chemist Kim Janda says his team wanted to see if they could make fentanyl safer by slightly redesigning the drug at the molecular level.
I decided to try to look at putting in a component that would basically be viewed as fentanyl by the immune system, but wouldn't have the liabilities that fentanyl has.
Janda says for decades, scientists believed you couldn't change fentanyl's structure without ruining how it works. His team changed what he calls the core unit of the molecule and tested the redesigned drug in mice.
That core unit looks like a honeycomb in shape. And what we did was we changed it to look like two squares that are hooked together like paper clips. And surprisingly, we found that it still has the ability to block pain, but it doesn't cause respiratory depression.
Respiratory depression is that dangerous slowing of breathing that makes fentanyl overdoses so deadly. Dr. Richard Clark is an emergency physician and director of toxicology at UC San Diego Health. He treats fentanyl overdoses.
The higher the amount that you inject in yourself, the quicker you're going to stop breathing. It's potential that you could stop breathing within minutes of a large dose of fentanyl.
Clark says if a new version of the drug truly reduced that breathing risk, it could make overdoses less deadly.
My takeaway would be this research is fascinating, and if it If it actually holds true in humans, it has great potential.
The research is still in early lab stages. Jandis says his team chose not to patent the research, hoping others will build on it.
In a sense, it's a makeover of fentanyl, which people think is this monster, and we're trying to make it more tame in terms of how it could be used as a therapeutic.
Jandis says the research could lead to next-generation opioid medications designed to lower the risk of addiction, overdose, and death. Heidi DeMarco, KPBS News.
I'm Amna Navaz. Tonight on the NewsHour, Mark Zuckerberg takes the stand in a trial that could hold social media companies accountable for addictive content. That's coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
Ken Kramer's About San Diego is celebrating a big milestone, our very own Ken Kramer's 100th episode. And to mark the occasion, we're looking back at some of the first broadcasts of the show that has become a local favorite over the years. Let's take a look.
I remember that first episode on KPBS TV, Frame Within a Frame, a guy throwing a frisbee in Horton Plaza Park as it looked in 1978. Russ Hamnett was the announcer.
About San Diego, the feature magazine of San Diego Public Television.
And then I came on, didn't know who would be watching. It was still a kind of experiment.
Hello, I'm Ken Kramer, and this is a program about San Diego. A program that is put together with the help of a lot of people in the community and also with the assistance of some very skilled people from KPBS TV.
And that was a very young and dapper Ken Kramer.
Who was that man?
Who was that man? And you're here to talk about those early memories and digging up those archives. What was it like for you to do that?
You mean to go back? Yeah, it triggered some nostalgia, to be very, very sure. And I was going back and looking at how we first did the show, and it was very serious-minded. It wasn't exactly 60 Minutes, but we were trying to cover stories in some depth and detail, very serious-minded stories, and we kind of morphed into more people and history of San Diego. That's how it evolved.
Yeah, and it has evolved into a show that really digs up our past, the past of this region. So tell us about your process. How do you find these stories? Do you consider suggestions from the audience?
Oh, I really do. I would say about a third of them do come from the audience. And then you're just kind of walking along and you see something kind of etched into the sidewalk. Or you look at a hill over there and you say, I wonder how it got that name. How does Grossmont get its name? How did Encinitas get its name? How did these places become the spots and locations that we know so well today? And that's the story. I think the then and the now is what makes a good About San Diego story.
Yeah, because you're not just a storyteller, you're also an educator. I've learned so much over the years just watching your show. Now, the next question I have for you might be a tough one, but I'm going to try anyway. What has been one of the most surprising things about San Diego for you?
I don't know that I can say any one thing is especially surprising, but what I do find really gratifying is that there are deep roots here. I mean, people tend to say, oh, San Diego, it has beautiful beaches, and it surely does, has a great zoo, but it really is people and these little stories that have such depth. I think that's what interests me and challenges me as a storyteller. I really do. Yeah.
That, and I'm sure your curiosity too.
Yeah, I often say this, so many of us have come here from other places, and do we invest in San Diego as our home? I talk to people all the time and they say, well, I go to the Padre games and I root for Pittsburgh. And I say, really, how long have you lived in San Diego? Well, 25 years I've lived in San Diego. Well, at what point, do you begin to say, I'm a Padre fan, I'm a San Diego man or woman, I'm invested in this place. I hope maybe in a small way About San Diego helps us feel that we are a part of the community.
I can speak for myself, it certainly has, and I hope for all of our viewers as well. So let's talk about what's coming up. Can you give us kind of an idea about what we can expect in the coming episodes?
Yeah, the 100th episode, we really are going to look back. We're going to talk about the genesis of About San Diego, because so many people ask me, how'd you get started? How were you inspired? what was it that got you moving on? And I will actually tell that story, and we will see some very, very young Ken Kramer. I can't, going back, doing those early shows. We'll see some of that, and we'll have maybe the 3 or 4 viewer favorite segments, and a lot more kind of fun stuff.
Wow, I can't wait to see that.
Thank you.
I can't believe it's in 100 episodes, Ken. Congratulations.
Well, neither can I. It's 100 episodes, I should say, to clarify, because people have asked. It's 100 episodes since coming back to KPBS, because I was on NBC for a while and then did hundreds of radio stories. But at some point, Tom Carlo, the former general manager here, said, come back, do some, let's find a way. And we did, and I'm doing them even yet.
I'm so glad that he did, and what a great plan you guys embarked upon. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And
Maya.
you can watch the 100th episode of Ken Kramer's About San Diego at 8 o'clock tomorrow night, right here on KPBS TV.
All right, some good news and some bad news. Good news is that the winds ease and the showers fade tonight. Bad news is we are ramping up for another storm tomorrow. That's going to bring some more gusty winds. Meanwhile, the weekend is trending drier and warmer, so that's certainly something to look forward to. All right, tonight, after a couple of rounds of showers that we've seen the last several nights, a drier night on the way as temperatures drop back down to the 40s and 50s. Colder conditions in Mount Laguna, 26 degrees through tonight. Here's the next storm that arrives that brings more showers and mountain snow and then rain across central and southern California. Meanwhile, it stays a bit brisk and chilly across the Four Corners region, and we'll eventually get some cooler air returning as we head into Friday. Let's talk temperatures, though. Tomorrow, it stays kind of dreary in Borrego Springs at 38 and cold enough here to see a little bit of snow. Mount Laguna, 33. We'll watch for more rain. San Diego, Chula Vista, Oceanside as temperatures are in the upper 50s and lower 60s. Here we go. Future satellite and radar. That next round of moisture starts to move in as early as 7 o'clock tomorrow morning up towards Bakersfield and L.A. We'll stay cloudy with some showers and then see our precipitation and wind increase a little bit later into the day before we clear out a bit as we head into Friday. And even those clouds begin to fade too, and we'll start to see some more sunshine returning, but some cooler weather on tap as we head into Friday, but temperatures warm up just in time for the weekend. Let's take a look at how things then shape out the next couple of days. So along the coast, still some showers tomorrow, cooler weather on Friday, but looking lovely Saturday into early next week. The theme is similar. Further inland, showers 57 on Thursday, and temperatures slowly climb. We'll be back into the 70s on Sunday and Monday. Looking at the mountain forecast as we're tracking more snow on Thursday. Friday, mostly cloudy, 38, but the sun comes on Saturday. May have to watch for another round of snow on Sunday before we dry out and warm up on Monday. And then into the desert locations here, dreary conditions tomorrow, but then much nicer weather ahead. For KPBS News, I'm Ariella Scalise.
The KPBS podcast, The Finest, is now in its second season. It shines a spotlight on the people, art, and movements redefining our region's cultural identity. A new episode is out tomorrow featuring Oceanside's own indie pop band, Topica Clementine. You can listen at kpbs.org/thefinest or wherever you get your podcasts. Tomorrow, Phil Unit will give his final lecture before retiring after 37 years as the San Diego Natural History Museum's curator of birds and mammals. KPBS arts reporter Beth Accomando says the Nat will let you hear directly from the person who has shaped our understanding of Southern California's wildlife over the decades.
For 37 years, Phil Unit has been building and caring for the Nat's extensive bird and mammal collection.
We want to come back into the collection and see some of the 52,000 birds and 26,000 mammals.
But later this month, he'll be retiring.
One thing that's been very gratifying through my career is that all of our science staff has maintained a commitment to the value of the collection and the use of the collection and the use of the collections in understanding environmental change. So future generations are going to come up with uses that I can't even possibly imagine.
His work has revolved around a basic question. What can the past teach us about the future? The answer? A lot. For one, preserved specimens help us understand environmental change and guide conservation. But UNIT's talk will not focus only on the specimens.
But the people behind it and how they started from absolutely nothing, in poverty, to develop this incredible resource over 150 years.
The NAT is home to one of the most significant natural history collections in the western United States.
And here in San Diego, we're fortunate that we have a long history of study, and with the work that we've done here at the museum, both with the collection and with our bird and mammal atlas projects, that we could say that the status and distribution of birds in San Diego County is among the best known anywhere in the world.
And UNIT wants to recognize the dedicated people who've been contributing to the collection since the 1800s. He says he wants to counter a dehumanization of science that suggests scientific knowledge can occur without passionate people.
Nothing happens unless people have ideas and can discuss the ideas and debunk the ideas. So I want to talk not only about the collection and its applications, but the people behind it and how we got there, and in the process make science a little bit more human and therefore I hope a little bit more accessible.
Phil Unit's journey through the collection takes place tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at the San Diego Natural History Museum in Balboa Park. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.
What a great contribution he has made. Well, here's a look at what we're working on for tomorrow in the KPBS newsroom. Tomorrow on NPR's Morning Edition, Senator Bernie Sanders is in California trying to drum up support for a ballot measure asking for a tax on billionaires. And it's all about the arts on KPBS Midday Edition tomorrow with the weekend preview and the Oceanside International Film Festival. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Enjoy your evening.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, air, restoration, and flood services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit BillHowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following: by viewers like you. Thank you.